What is up, everybody? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Good morning. If you're on the West Coast, it's like super good morning. So come on in. This is the pre-show. The live hearing begins in an hour. So at noon, which is 9 o'clock out there in Bonner County. It's at the Bonner County Courthouse. So Boise is only 2-hour difference, but Bonner County, where this default hearing, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what crazy stuff occurred over the past 3 to 4 weeks. So come on in. Let's start.
Look, my husband is actually driving.
What's
First time
happening,
he's been
kiddos?
driving in a week. Total praise the Lord. Go up and all the way around. He got cleared today from the spinal surgeon that he can ease back into work tomorrow. So I just thought I wanted to let you know. So thank you for prayers. It's like total miracle from last Tuesday, Wednesday. The fact that he's still got a few problems, but we're dealing with them, and he is
I'm actually able to function.
Better. Yeah, he's able to actually function without pain. So thank you for praying. Loved seeing the Instapot, and I want that.
We're opening up with a bomb right off the rip. Again, good morning, everybody. Question. Okay. Any other news outlets you've spoken with or communicated with? Cade, XLY. Okay. And that's a broadcast media. Is that right? Yes. So they did video statements that they televised for you? Yes. And when was that? 6 months ago. Okay. Are you guessing, or is that a good approximation? I don't know. Okay. I don't really know the timing, really. It was approximate, about 6 months ago. Any other news outlets? Yes, but I can't name them all. I reached out to a lot of news outlets. Okay. I don't know what our local stations are. Did you speak with Dateline? I have spoken with Dateline. Did you speak? Who did you speak with at Dateline? Shane. Shane? And when did you speak with Shane? Probably a year after Brian died. Have you spoke with him since then? Yes, I have. When was the last time you spoke with him? I don't know for sure. Probably 4 months ago. Okay. Did you call him or did he call you? Oh, I don't remember. Okay. You don't remember if you called him and reached out to him or whether he called you? We've talked many times. How often? Periodically. I don't know how to answer that. Well, so over the last month, have you spoken to him? I just said I have not spoken to him for 4 months. Okay, 4 months. And between the year after and the year after, you said 6 months after Brian died and up to 4 months ago, about how many times would you say you've spoken with him in total? Total? Yeah. Oh, a dozen? Okay. Has Dateline offered you any payment of sums of money for speaking with them or cooperating with them in the production of a news story? None. Have they offered in any way to do that? To do what? To pay you? No, none. Have you solicited payment from them? No. Okay. And what other, you say many other news outlets, and you couldn't name any others. So you can't name any others? I don't know what our local news, I don't ever watch local news. So whatever our local constituent news is, I don't know that I have reached out to. Oh, I reached out to the Bonners Ferry paper. Oh, the Bonners Ferry Herald? Uh-huh. And if you could say yes or no, yes. Okay, you reached out to them, yes. And when was that? Oh, probably about 6 months ago. Why did you reach out to the Bonners Ferry Herald? Because I put up a reward campaign. Okay, and what was your reward campaign? Describe that for us. It was a billboard campaign that was offering money for any information leading to the death of my husband. Information leading to the death of your husband? Or to help? Leading to the conviction and arrest of the person who murdered my husband. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Truth and Transparency. Jennifer Drake solicited all of us, every single person, and she decided to put up a billboard campaign asking the public for help. She offered a $10,000 reward. All of us were solicited once that billboard campaign went up. Now, the question is why? Why? Well, okay, and so that billboard you placed up in around Athol, Idaho. Yes. Okay, who paid for that billboard? Nobody. So someone provided to you as a charitable gift? Yes. Who was that? The billboard company. Which billboard company? Lamar. Lamar? Where are they located? I don't know how to answer that. Are they a local company? Lamar, I think, is a national company. Okay. The person that I spoke to with, I think they're based out of Spokane. Okay, and there's a reward. There's a reward offer of an amount of $10,000 for that campaign. Is that right? Yes. And who is paying that $10,000 if a person is, and well, let me just ask you, who is going to pay that reward money? That would be Craig Faint. Craig Faint, is that a friend of yours and a former friend, obviously, of Brian's? Yes. High school classmates? Yes. They played football together? Yes. He gave you and Brian money over the years, right? Not over the years. He did it once. Okay. So he's offering the $10,000. Yes. And are you coordinating this campaign with the Idaho State Police? No. Well, what do you mean when you say coordinating? So you've offered a reward and there's this tip line. Is that right? On the billboard? Yes. So where does that number go? It goes to Boise. To who? I'm not really sure. There's a tip line center down in Boise. I know that Idaho State Police is the ones who coordinated to set it up, but I don't know who actually does the tip line. I don't know who mans the tip line. I have no idea. Has something to do with law enforcement in Boise. Okay. So you had no discussions or coordination efforts with the Idaho State Police about this billboard and this tip line? That's not what I said. Okay, well, explain to me then how you have coordination and conversations and discussions with the Idaho State Police about this tip line. I had discussions with them, yes. Okay, when? Several times. When was the last time? Probably 2 months before I put it up. How did it come about that you made this coordinated effort with the Idaho State Police? Objection to the form of the question. Well, let me ask her this way. Did you coordinate an effort with the Idaho State Police to establish this tip line and the tip line number that's on your billboard? That is not how it originated. I coordinated with Craig Faint, and we came to the state police and said, this is what we are going to do. What do you mean you came to the state police? I had a meeting with the Idaho State Police and said, this is what we're going to do. Did you call them and ask for a meeting? I don't remember. How did the meeting get set up? Sometimes I just show up. Okay. And you don't know, just out of the blue, you just showed up for a meeting? Nobody told you to be there? 100%. 100% what? Yes. So you just showed up at a meeting. What day did you show up at the meeting? A meeting means I am here. May I please speak to a detective? That's how. What detective was at this meeting? Mike Van Leuven. Okay. And Gary Tolson. Did they call you and say, hey, let's have a meeting? No. Did you call them and say, hey, let's have a meeting? No. Then how did the meeting happen? I just told you. No, you didn't. I walked in and objection. Said, is a detective there? I'm going to object to that, counsel. Okay, that's not, what's your objection? A question. Well, no, I'm trying to explain to her. She didn't answer my question. I'd like her to answer my question. Well, actually, she did. No, she didn't. Yes, she did. If you want to ask her the question again, fine, but she already answered it. Okay. So you don't know how this meeting came to be organized. Is that your testimony? That is not what I said. Okay, how did the meeting come to be organized? It did not organize. I walked into the front door and asked if the detective was there. Okay, so you just showed up on their doorstep? That's what I said twice. All right, I must have misunderstood that. Okay, so you just showed up, and do you remember what day you just showed up? No, I have no idea. And it was just you? Yes, just me. Oh, that's funny. I thought she just said about 2 minutes ago that her and Craig Faint set that up and went there. Now it's just her. And tell me, what is it that you were both Mike Van Leuven and Gary Tolson there at the Idaho State Police when you showed up? They were just there at the door? They were. And did they sit down and talk to you? They did. And tell me what was discussed at that meeting? Yeah, I don't remember. I have met with them multiple times. How many times? I don't know. Can you give an approximation? 6. 6 since when? Well, 6 since probably in the last 2 years. And you don't remember when the last time was that you met with them about this billboard? Right before the billboard was put up. Okay. And since the billboard has been put up, have they been in communication with you about the billboard? Rephrase that. Since the billboard was put up, have they, meaning that Idaho State Police, Gary Tolson or Mike Van Leuven, have they been in touch with you about the billboard? Have they initiated contact? Yes. No, they haven't. Have you called them? I have not called them. Have you learned anything about what's happened from your tip line? I have learned nothing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the transparency. I know that I've called personally Craig Faint. I know my phone records can prove that. I know that I've called the Idaho State Police tip line. I've never talked to anybody, never once, and no one's ever called me. And because I've tried to submit my tips. They don't share with you anything from that tip line. I have asked them, and they have said there has been nothing. I thought you said you haven't contacted them. I didn't. So how did you ask them? I walked into their office. You said I've asked them and there is nothing. So that's inconsistent with what you just said. No, it's not. All right. You just asked if I had ever called them since the tip line. Right. No, I have not called them. Have you been in communication with them? Yes. About the tip line? I have. Have you been in communication, or how have you been in communication? I walked into their office. Again? Yes, again. Okay, when? About 3 weeks ago. And who did you meet with when you walked in there 3 weeks ago? Mike Van Leuven and Gary Tolson, the same two detectives. The same two. Yes. And did you meet with them? Yes. And what did they tell you? That there was nothing to report. Nothing to report with regard to the tip line. With regard to the tip line. So otherwise, if there was something to report, they would report it to you. Remember, this is about an active, open homicide investigation. I don't know. There's been times that they've said there's something and that they won't tell me, and I'm fine with that. Okay, so if there is something and they won't tell you, why do you go in and ask if there's something? Because if there is something they can tell me, I would like to know. All right. Have they given you any clear direction on what your involvement will be in any tip lines, that information that may get? No. What do you understand your role to be in it? None. Okay. They've never indicated to you that they can't share investigative information with you? Yes, they have. When did they share that? Near the beginning of this case. Back in 2020. But you go in and ask anyway? Absolutely. Okay, all right. As you know, in this, you've been sworn to tell the truth under the penalty of perjury. Tell us what you understand the oath to tell the truth means. I'm going to object to the form of that question. What do you understand the consequences might be if you don't tell the truth to the police? I don't know. I've never thought that through. You described it earlier as testimony, so do you see it as important to tell the truth to the police? Of course. Okay. Why do you think it is important to tell the truth to the police? I don't know how to answer that. I believe the police have my best interest in mind, so I want to do nothing but help them. Okay. You recall that in the course of discovery in this case, you were served with interrogatories from us, right? Yes. Here's your first bomb. Ready? Right here on April 3rd, 2020, Jennifer Drake is in front of Detective Mike Van Leuven and Sean Donahue, or whatever he calls himself. And 13 minutes into the conversation that was recorded, Mike Van Leuven shows Jennifer Drake 3 pictures of 3 separate guns. One second here. Hold on one second. All right, here. You guys should be able to hear now. Hold on one second. There was an issue. Well, as that's loading, we're going to go on over here to Hector. Jennifer was shown 3 guns. Can you guys hear now? 4/3/2020 JD. Nope. Okay. Gun 2. JD. Nope. And then gun 3. JD, no. So can you hear? Is everybody can hear now? Everybody should have sound. You guys have sound? All right. So here we go. I'm going to play the recording on April 3rd, 2020, between Detective Van Leuven and Jennifer Drake, where Jennifer Drake is shown these 3 guns. This would have been April 3rd, 2020, just the same day as she's receiving her $1 million check. Okay.
I'm almost positive this is not his uncle's, which means I don't know where these came from.
Okay. All right. That's all I can ask for. That looks like maybe like
we don't have any.
There you go.
Never seen those before. Any of these look familiar to you? They look like they were taken by his phone, just set on the same surface. Never seen those before?
No, I wonder where that surface is. We don't have any of these, and
Looks like the bottom of some sort of Apple device, maybe?
yeah, that doesn't look like his. That's not an iPod. That looks like a phone. Because he didn't have anything in his office that was white like this.
Yeah, it looks like maybe like a white plastic table or something.
Yeah. And I mean, I wasn't always in his uncle's shop with him, but I would sit in there for hours sometimes with him too. And so I'm positive, I'm almost positive this is not his uncle's, which means I don't know where these came from.
Okay. All right. That's all I can ask for.
We don't own this, we don't own this, we don't own this. I'm really bad with guns. Maybe something that's like is it a 45, what most military or police officers have or used to have?
Used to have, yeah, most of like the 1911 style. Those were 45. Probably the most common caliber is the 9mm today.
Did John send you pictures of because he took pictures of all that I own?
No, I haven't got any pictures of that.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that they were all accounted for.
No,
we're into
oh, mine are yes, but if he bought some, remember, because he had that conversation. And
Right there, that's a recording that never happened. Remember I told you we had that conversation about guns, but I never followed up with them? That is nowhere to be found, that conversation that she's telling Van Leuven about right there that, remember I told you? Well, Van Leuven says it looks like that those guns were taken from Brian's phone, okay? And Jen is saying that she's never seen, has no idea what those are, okay? Well, Hector, where you at? Van Leuven knew and should have known this to be a lie, because where Van Leuven got these pictures from is Van Leuven got these from the extractions of Brian and Jennifer's phones. Okay, the Cellbrite extractions. And these were blown up. Okay, so this is picture 1. She's like, no. Picture 2, no. And picture 3, this is what she's like, oh, that doesn't look to be like an i. That's not an iPod. That's like an iPhone. You know, so she says no here again. Well, here's your bombshell. This is the Cellbrite extraction. Van Leuven got it from, as you can see here as I zoom in, he got this from Jennifer Drake is in the 3-way text group. Kathy Drake, Jen, and Brian. My Lady Smith 357 or shoots 38 special ammo for those who don't care for auto with slide. And all 3 of them are in the different parts of the thread of text messages. Wow, you are armed and dangerous, Mama. Then this would come actually from Jen's phone on 7/5/2019. They were at a gun shop and they were looking, same damn caliber that killed her man. Okay. And this is Jen from Jen's phone on 7/5/2019. Straight from her device. These, she knows exactly who these guns belong to. And Van Leuven knew who these belonged to. And they were guns that belonged to Drake's mother. And Drake's mother gave guns to Jen. Now, next bombshell is we found, this is the wall across the street from the office building of where Drake was mother-in-law of Jen's is, yeah, Mrs. Drake. Okay, that's who she's in a 3-way text. Those were from 2015. Those text messages went all the way back to 2015. Jen knows, had seen those guns. She knows who those guns belong to, and they were in the family. So why wouldn't Detective Van Leuven call her out that she was in a 3-way text? Why wouldn't Van Leuven ask Drake's mom and family where those guns were today? This is a picture from sitting in Brian's office. If you were to look directly, that's the coffee shop. Okay? That's the coffee shop. People asked me numerous times when I've said, you guys, the witnesses said, hey, there's been 2 gunshots that were fired. Okay? Because the gunshot through the window was a staging. Brian Drake has debris all over his back. Okay? Soil, vegetation, dirt under his fingernails. Well, tell me how this happens. Ready for this bomb? This is this wall. We had found this hole, and we gave this information over to not the detective, but a quote unquote an investigator who was supposedly helping Dr. Moore's cause. Okay. This is in a hole right through this wall here. Okay. We video recorded it. We taped it. We did everything. Here it is, right? We gave it to who we would consider a good old boy, if you ask me. All right? Well, tell me why and how anybody would know what we had found. This is the coffee shop wall. This is the coffee shop wall next to Brian. This is the drive-through. Brian Drake. Like, this picture is taken from the office of Brian Drake through the window looking, okay? If somebody was to have shot a gun through the glass, inside out, where'd the bullet go, right? Where'd the bullet go? Well, so we found this, all right? But this is what's funny about it. Nobody knew that we had found this. We didn't tell anybody about it, except for an investigator, because we wanted to be handled the right way, right? Well, clearly that person decided to tell somebody. And we then watched and witnessed them go and patch it up. If it was just a simple drill with a drill, right? Who would ever go and tell somebody somebody felt the need to go to that building and fill in this hole? How did they even know that it was there? We kept this under wraps. Nobody should have known about this. Who went and filled it in? If it was so not important. Boom, daddy. We have all the dates. We got all the timestamps. We got it all. Okay. Recently, there's been a huge twist in this case. Okay. Which is there was supposed to be a 9-day trial. Then all of a sudden, the Moores and Jennifer Drake, they stipulated to a default judgment. And everybody's out there. So let me plug this back in so you guys can hear me a little better. Ooh. Okay, so right here, this is proof that the police knew that Jennifer Drake was in the three-way text message. So was Brian. So was his mom. Jennifer Drake knows those guns. She lied to the police. Okay. But why? My question is why did the police not show her, hey, you were in these three-way text messages? Or even better, go to Brian Drake's family and ask them about these motherfucking guns. Okay. This gun is still completely unaccounted for. All the shit's unaccounted for. Now, it would be after Jennifer Drake has a deposition that she goes to the police, Idaho State Police, and turns in one of the guns and says, here, can you test this? This is my Lady Smith, blah, 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 blah. Can you test this gun? After a deposition where she gets called out lying about guns. Okay. Now, we are 20 minutes outside of this hearing. This hearing was supposed to kick off last Friday. It was supposed to be a jury trial. And then all of a sudden, the Moores default stipulate judgment with Jennifer Drake. And it's like, wait a second, what the heck is going on here? Why in the world would this happen? I mean, the winning hand, thanks to Jennifer Drake reaching out to the public and doing a billboard and asking for the public's help, which would be you, me, whoever. You guys, I just have the brains to put it all together. Idaho State Police give Jennifer Drake and her lawyers through a right to an information, a request, a public request. They give Jennifer Drake and her attorneys the entire ISP homicide file, and it is an open and active investigation, and they hand her the discovery. Now, Jennifer Drake then answers, well, wait, you didn't look at any of this stuff? No, it's too upsetting. Exactly. And that's why she reached out and did a big old billboard, because she wanted us to help find the evidence, which would be in the discovery, to be able to put all the pieces together so that she can get justice for her family and, most importantly, for Brian Drake, her husband. So here, Jennifer Drake reaches out to all of these news media outlets. Well, that's funny that Jennifer Drake didn't reach out to my news media outlet one time, where I was trying to give her the latest bombshell, which is Eldora Gatchel, the last patient to see Brian Drake, lied to the police about what vehicle she left in, what time she left in. And now, in a complete change of events, was supposed to have Eldora Gatchel as one of her witnesses. At the last minute, takes Eldora Gatchel off of her witness list. Dan Moore and Karen Moore put Eldora Gatchel on their witness list. This is right before this default. And sources close to this case have told me that the reason for this default is because this hearing, this 9-day trial that was scheduled, was for the sole purpose to be able to rearrest and charge with murder Dr. Daniel Lee Moore. So how much is money worth it to you and your freedom? When you are being threatened that the sharks are circling the building and that you are probably going to be arrested on day one of the trial for a freaking big old shit show of because just because he would be arrested for this doesn't mean that he can't participate in this 9-day trial. Okay. What would you do? What would you do? Close to over $1 million spent on a defense for this civil suit. Who the hell would spend all this type of money to then just default right before it is supposed to begin? In a civil case, unlike a criminal case, you are not afforded the luxury and comfort of the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment, which is your right to remain silent. My advice to the Moore family, when I had given it a long time ago, was under no circumstances would I ever do a deposition. I would be pleading the Fifth all the way through. Let the evidence tell your story. This isn't your story. It's actually the story of the lies that government officials told and that people that were in the inner circle of Brian Drake, their lies. But the Moores got pulled into this because Dr. Moore was framed. Right? He became the defendant. Nobody in 1,000,000 years ever thought that Dan Moore was going to make a false confession. They didn't have enough to arrest him before that. They couldn't even get probable cause. Probable cause is the lowest threshold before reasonable suspicion when you get pulled over by getting like a ticket. Okay. Probable cause couldn't even be reached, meaning when they pulled Dan Moore in to have that little interrogation, they were unable to, with everything that was written up in their probable cause affidavit, okay, they were never going to get probable cause for any search warrants. They were never going to get probable cause for the arrest of him. And in fact, they have to put the false confession, aka the Miranda violated confession, right? And the it was deemed that it was extorted out of him by government officials using horrible tactics, and all of that was ruled at the lower courts that it's out. Not only because of Miranda violations, but also you just violated his, constitutional rights, and then you extorted this false confession. Okay, the higher courts, because they don't want to see their people paying out tons of money, they said, yeah, it's out because of Miranda. Yep, you violated the shit out of his Miranda. He asked for a lawyer 8-9 times. Okay, but we don't think that it was the next level. So we're going to take that away. But it's definitely out. You're never able to use the confession in a criminal case ever. But in a civil case, you're able to show the jury 100% the confessions, aka you're going to be able to show what went on in that interrogation room, right? But guess what, guys? Who gives a fuck? In my opinion, I said, let them see it. Let the jury see that. Okay? Because everything else around it favors the Moores. I mean, everything. Everything. To the point that you want Leslie Lehman on the stand, to the point that you want Van Leuven on the stand, and you want to show them their fucking PowerPoint presentation that omitted in an affidavit, probable cause affidavit that Van Leuven submitted. He omitted a very important line in that PowerPoint, which was the vehicle of Eldora Gatchel, the pilot, leaving Drake's and what time it left at. Because if, in fact, Eldora Gatchel and Caleb Kokonazar, the last patients to see Drake, were, in fact, in that pilot, it leaves 1 minute and 30 seconds before a white truck ever comes up and through that drive-thru. Meaning that when Eldora Gatchel told the police, when she was pulling out, she saw a white truck with its running lights on, and she couldn't then go through the drive-thru and had to go around the other way when she left with her pilot. Wait a second. Well, how is that possible? Oh, wait, I know how, Lana. Because Eldora didn't leave in the fucking pilot. That's how she saw the white truck. She was still there. She was still there. Somebody else drove the pilot and left in it. And Van Leuven and Leslie Lehman knew this, and I can prove that they knew it. And I provided the evidence for it. So you gotta understand, I was extremely, extremely pissed to see that you literally are threatening a 67-year-old man and his wife with saying we are going to. The prosecutor took the whole week off of work to go and sit in this 9-day trial so she could sit there, and they watch my channel daily for the purpose not to get truth and justice, from the truth, and get justice from the truth, and, transparent, but no, to go and literally they only have one suspect, and it's Daniel Lee Moore. But why aren't we talking about the numerous white elephants, which are the lies of the last person to see Drake alive? Because guess why? Eldora Gatchel was still there. That means the 7:17 p.m. phone call that was made by Brian Drake's phone that night, and that the state is saying, yep, Brian called his wife, and his wife's like, yeah, I was on the phone with my husband. In fact, in this paperwork right here, she is seeking damages for that phone conversation. Punitive. She is seeking basically $10 million in this lawsuit right here. With what's going to be read out here today. We got 10 minutes before this is supposed to start, this huge default judgment hearing where Jennifer Drake has 10 witnesses that are still set and slated to testify. Leslie Lehman's one of them. Mike Van Leuven's one of them. Marty Ryan's one of them. All of the kids, her. They aren't calling the ME. But they are trying to get in the autopsy. How can you get the autopsy in without the ME? Jennifer Drake is asking for this court that you're going to see here today for each one of them to receive $2.5 million apiece. Jennifer Drake did depositions in this case, 2 days worth. Dan Moore did 2 days worth of depositions. Karen Moore did, I think, a day or a half a day worth of depositions. Dan Moore has an alibi witness who did a deposition who was, his deposition frees Dan Moore. Because guess what? Law enforcement never questioned Mick Mallett the way that you would question somebody about the day of the murder and the night of the murder, and what was said out of that alibi witness on truly what time the scanner came across the airwaves puts it exactly what I've been telling everybody, which is Brian Drake was shot and killed before 7 p.m. I've interviewed Aaliyah Sandelin. I've interviewed Isaac Funderburg. I've interviewed Paul Jacobson. Very three key important. I've talked to Stephen Hartman. Stephen Hartman's wife or girlfriend didn't want him to talk. They think they're going to do some Dateline episode. Dateline's going to have to call the other side and ask the other side if they want to speak. You better believe if Dateline calls me, I have a lot to say and I have all the proof to back it up. And so does Jennifer Drake because she has the whole goddamn discovery. I put in a motion a year ago to have and be able to stream every single day the 9-day trial for the purposes for the Moores being able to do a documentary of what they've been through about the abuse of elderly abuse that's gone on in this case. There's other things I'm not going to say right now, but they denied my motion a year ago because Judge Susie Jensen doesn't like cameras in the courtroom. Dateline NBC put in a motion on the 27th of January to have audio and video in that courtroom. That's about to start in 6 minutes. We're about to flip over there. And they were granted their motion. Well, I think that's kind of biased, don't you? NBC, Dateline puts in a motion 1 day before this and is granted to have full audio and video in that courtroom. I did it a year ago for the purposes, educational purposes. I've spent anywhere between 40 to 80 hours of research on this case for the past, year and a half. I will go up against anybody when it comes to the actual facts of this case. I will go up against the investigators. I will go up against any lawyer. I will go up against either party, any witness. Daniel Lee Moore did not kill Brian Drake. The time of the crime is wrong. And then here's your last bombshell. Brian Drake was calling repeatedly, or not Brian Drake. Well, yeah, Brian Drake was trading services for steroids and pills, and it's documented on his patient files. Brian Drake, on the day that he was murdered at 7:49 and 7:50, his cell phone received back-to-back calls right before the body was found by the police officers that just couldn't find the address and let him bleed out for 20, 30 minutes. A local known meth dealer by the name of Michael Cook was calling repeatedly at 7:49 and 7:50 Brian Drake's cell phone. No calls have ever been outgoing or incoming from Michael Cook, ever. And the detectives never interviewed Michael Cook ever, knowing that this was the last person to call him before the body was found. He is a local known meth dealer out of Sandpoint. Michael Cook. Also, Michael Cook lives in the Sandpoint area, but that night, his cellular telephone, the phone calls, thanks to all the work that I did with the cell towers and learning them, he was making those calls from being on the same cell tower that Brian Drake was on. He should have been in Sandpoint if he was at home. His cell phone is on the same cell tower that Brian Drake's was on the night of the murder when he's calling and looking for the cell phone. And then 6 minutes before he begins to call at 7:49 and 7:50, at 7:44, Jennifer Drake receives a phone call from the sheriff's line, who Detective McClellan, he was with the sheriff's department. He was on and off the phone the whole hour before with Caleb Watts, officer, Michael Valenzuela, officer. And Jennifer Drake said, "Oh, I was on the phone with the medics." And they said that they're not the medics, but dispatch. And dispatch, the woman said that the medics were with Brian at 7:44. The medics didn't get to Brian Drake until 8:07 p.m. It's on body cam. So that phone call couldn't have been about that. She also said that the dispatch was asking for Brian Drake's cell phone number, that the sheriff needed it. Well, that's weird. And after that 2-minute and 30-second phone call, Jennifer Drake gave up the cell phone number, and then miraculously a meth dealer is calling his cell phone number at 7:49. Take that shit to the bank. I know the truth. I can prove it. If Jennifer Drake truly wanted to know what happened to her husband, she would have been reaching out to me a hell of a long time ago. She never once reached out to me. In fact, she told people not to talk to me. She had people texting me and harassing me. Her one little friend, people asking me to ask how much I'm getting paid. What? To threat? Ridiculous shit. Getting paid? No, Jennifer, you put up the $10,000 to pay me and the public to find all of this stuff out for a conviction. Well, Eldora Gaucho would be convicted with the proof and what I found. And it's just a matter of if Eldora Gaucho would take anybody down with her. The eyewitness saw Caleb Cohen Azara, not Daniel Lee Moore. And that's what Isaac Funderburg would have been testifying to in open court had this went off. And they suppressed all of this shit because they threatened that man with his life. It's disgusting. Now for the Zoom hearing. We're just waiting for the Zoom to begin. Can you guys hear me? Making sure. The host ended this meeting. Hold on one second. Judge Jensen's personal meeting room. Host has joined. You'll let them know you are here. Gotta get all my screenshots of all this. So this is open to the public. This is open to the public, and are they trying to keep me out of this? All right, so let's try something. All right, who has Zoom? I'm going to give you guys the Zoom information. Well, I guess we can just call Bonner County Courthouse. Okay, they haven't started yet. We have another feed. We are infiltrating with 3 different. We got it. I don't know who they think that they are, trying to keep the public out. Public has an interest. In fact, while all of you public people are here right now, so let's see. Okay. Okay. What do you guys think the Affair Recovery Center is? What would you guys think that is? The Affair Recovery Center. Would you think that somebody had an affair? Hmm. Again, we're just waiting patiently for this to begin. It has not begun yet, just in case anybody wants to know. You said that your husband, Brian Drake, had his secret wars. Can you tell us what you mean by that? He had a temper. I was very open about the fact that he had a small season where he was in pornography. Those were both things that most people didn't know about. Okay, so at the time anyway. So he had a secret wars with his temper and with pornography? Mm-hmm. And if you could please say yes or no. So you said he had a small season. What do you mean by that, where he was in pornography? It was right about the time that I found some pornography. And what time was that? I think, if I remember, it was right around 2008. I think it was 2008. Again, don't hold me to dates. Okay. It was just within the season before we moved to Idaho. It was before all the kids were born. It was right around when I was pregnant with so it had to have been 2008, 2009. And you were pregnant with your youngest then? Yes. Oh, okay, here. All right. Oh my God, they said there was no more room for us. We can log off at this time. There's no more room for us. Oh, okay. Well, that's impossible. To all the waiting room, there is no more room for you. Sorry, but you will not be let in. You may log off at this time. That's not going to fly. What do you mean there's no more room for us? What are you talking about? Interesting. So they don't want the truth out. But I thought she wanted the truth out. I thought she wanted the truth out. they kept out, this is nuts. You guys are seeing it here for yourselves, live and in charge, Bonner County Courthouse. Let's see how I can do this.
Hello, thank you for calling the Bonner County Clerk's Office. If you would like to speak with a clerk about a citation, fines, or a criminal case, please press 1. Or if you would like... Bonner County Clerk's Office?
Yeah.
Can I help you?
Yeah, hi. I just got a text message, and we have a live Zoom feed going on, and the actual parties can't get on the live Zoom feed. Like the Moores can't even get onto their live Zoom feed here to see their own default judgment hearing.
Okay. Give me just 1 minute, okay?
Okay.
Okay, who am I speaking with?
This is Lana.
I'm sorry, what?
This is Lana. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
We've got about 3 phone lines here that are for the same issue. So,
Okay.
Lana, you're calling for the Moores. You are.
Yeah, they
the
just contacted me and said that they cannot, like, they're unable to get in. So they were going to be, this is their hearing.
Right. And that's what we're trying to figure out. So, and they contacted you. You are.
Yeah. So so can you let us in so they can watch it?
But who are you for them? I mean,
I'm not.
They haven't contacted us.
Because they don't know how to do any of that stuff. So I said I would call to find out what the heck's happening. The the Boundary County watchwoman couldn't get in either because she just texted me the same thing. And so
County who?
the Boundary County watchman.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just saying for me, I'm calling on behalf of that. I was just notified through Karen Moore, who is a party in this case. She is unable to get in and said, how can you help me? I said, I will try to help you. So that is why I called.
Okay, and I'm asking questions because all the phone lines are full right now. I'm a criminal clerk, so I really don't know anything about this.
Okay.
So we're going back and forth.
I gotcha.
Well, that's why I'm asking so many questions.
No, you're cool. I was trying to be as
I
was trying to be as like direct as possible.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. So I'm going to put you on hold again and see where we're at. I know they were sending a message up to the court that there's an issue. So just hold for a few more minutes for me, please.
Okay, you got it.
Okay. Have not let anybody in on that yet.
Okay.
There is a list, and they know who. I mean, as they're going through the list, they're going to go, "Oh, the Moors. It's their hearing. They need to be in there." But as of right now, they just are getting ready to start letting people in.
Okay, because we got a notice and it said, let's see. It said, to all the waiting room, there is no more room for you. Sorry, but you will not be let in. You may log off at this time. And then it says, please log off if you are not being let in. And then it says, again, so sorry, but there is not enough room for everyone who wants to watch on this Zoom platform. I was given instructions on who to let in by the parties, and that filled the limitations for Zoom. Well, and then that's why I had called, because I was like, wait a second, one of the parties can't even get in. And that's why I was doing this for them, so that they could watch, because they don't know how to do any of this. And if you can just let them know that I'm under the name T, just the letter T.
Just the letter T?
Yep. T as in Tom.
T as in Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a text message?
Yeah, if you want me to screenshot my text message and send it to an email, I will do that.
Can you screenshot it and email it really quick so that we can
verify me? Sure, absolutely.
No, I don't want to verify you. I want them to know what you're seeing. I'm not saying that I need to verify you. I'm just saying if you're getting a text message saying that it's full and you can't, and they can't get in there,
yeah,
if you could give me that message.
Oh, you want me to take a picture of that message?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it says the waiting room. Yeah. Okay, here you go. Okay, and then where do you want me to email this to?
CLERKS.
Okay, wait. You said CL?
Yep, clerks.
Oh, clerks. Okay.
At Bonner.
Mm-hmm.
.idcourts.gov.
idcourts.gov.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I got it. All right, here I'm gonna attach this so you have it, and there you go.
Yeah, and that's one more thing so that we can let them know, what's going on. But to our knowledge, what we've been told so far is that they're just now starting to let people in, and they're letting people in according to, obviously the people that it's their hearing.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me that. And,
all right, I just went ahead and emailed that to you.
The civil side, and they're working on getting this resolved.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, did you get the email, or are you not able to check to see if it went through?
Let me see here. Sometimes it might take a minute.
It says,
I've got a big old piece of paper in front of my face here.
oh, okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure that I did this right.
Oh, come on. Don't do that right now.
It's coming from an email that's
okay. So there, expedited processing. Okay.
it says that it's sent on my end, but I just want to make sure it went to the right people. It said clerks at bonner.idcourts.gov.
Okay, so they need to list who they are in the okay, so they need to list who they are. They need to say, this is who I am, and the bailiffs will maintain them on the Zoom as best they can. They have such a high influx of people trying to get onto that it's kicking other people off, is what's happening. So they have to list who they are.
How do you want them to do that? What do you mean list who they are? I thought you wanted me to take a picture of.
I did, and I have not received that yet. But we just had somebody from the court in here, and they said there's such an influx that is kicking people
Okay,
off.
can I just put them through, like, can I add a call and can they just tell you this on the phone? They don't know how to do any of this stuff. Can I just add the call in and you can talk to them via the phone? Like, is that
what do you mean?
Like, I will call up Karen and she could just talk to you. That way, like, they know that you're talking to her. Is that what you need?
Talk to me about what? Again,
to be able to for them to be able to let in, because
talking to me is not going to get them in. When they're attempting to get into the Zoom meeting, they need to say who they are, so that the bailiffs know that they are a party to the hearing.
Okay.
And then they will try to maintain them as best they can in that hearing.
Okay.
But talking to me is not going to help them.
I got you. Hang on tight then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and try to do this then. And you had that number as, is it still the same meeting ID number?
Again, I'm incredible.
Okay, that's cool. I'll call.
Yeah, so
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Unreal. I have no idea how a hearing can go on without the parties being there. How is that? Dan and Karen they're not even there. They're supposed to be able to get on via Zoom. They were told that they could allowed to attend via Zoom. They do not live in Idaho. They live in Florida. Well, I have documentation right here. Lana, we can't get on. They sent us this. What the heck is going on? Why aren't we allowed to be at our hearing? I was like, you could be at your hearing. This is so basically Jennifer Drake's controlling. So they stipulated allow Zoom participants, but who's controlling the Zoom participants? Who is controlling? The Zoom participants. I changed my name. Dan and Karen Moore made themselves known that this channel, if they're picking people based on who the parties are allowed to select, she select Truth and Transparency to do this. So I have all the exhibits, so I'll just start pumping them out myself. Well, it's all lies. This is all fucking lies. You know what's funny is that you should want my channel to put this out there. If you're Jennifer Drake, you want it out there, right? Default, you won. Don't you want to put out all the evidence that you're going to present? Don't you want it to be seen? Don't you want it to be seen? Jennifer Drake wants to show 25 exhibits at a default judgment hearing. For what? What's the purpose? Well, stipulation to allow Zoom observations during default judgment hearing. Plaintiffs and defendants, by and through their representative attorneys of record, hereby stipulate that interested persons and family friends of the parties may observe the default hearing proceedings. And I was selected. I was most certainly selected. Plaintiffs and defendants, by and through their respective attorneys of record, hereby stipulate that interested persons and family and friends of the parties may observe the default hearing proceedings on January 29, 2025. The Moores aren't even in their own hearing. They were allowed to be there via Zoom. This is all just documenting more shit. Again, just so everyone understands, the Zoom platform is full. I cannot let anyone else in. So sorry. The Moores are asking to be let in. They are watching this feed. They can't get in. Unbelievable. This is ridiculous. Give us the number. We will all call the clerk. Just Google the number. Bonner County Courthouse. What do you mean? Give us the number. I mean, it's. This is what it's been like for them, though, since day one with this case. Since day one. Findings of fact, conclusions of law and decision. This is what they want the judge to sign. Jennifer. Oh, we might be getting in.
have exhibit number 9. Could you, again, we've seen this in the video, but would you just cover this for us briefly again?
This was the desk that he used to work off of and kept his patient files in a folder there. We also had a rolling patient box that's there on the ground to the right next to the wall, and a tablet that he used there on the left side of the desk.
The windowsill is shown on the right-hand side of that photograph, correct?
Yes.
And then just below the windowsill is a stool, correct?
Yes.
And that's where it is believed Dr. Gray was sitting at the time of the gunshot?
Yes, based on that, the angle of the bullet going through the windows, the double pane window, and the blinds, and then the height of the injury wound on his back, and the trajectory of the bullet through his body, we concluded that he was sitting on that stool when he was shot.
Exhibit number 10. Could you tell us what does this photograph depict?
This depicts an FBI agent holding what we call a ballistic rod, which is just a fancy name for a fiberglass rod. That's going through both the center of the window area where there's 2 window panes. One's broken out quite a bit, so it's not as useful as the other window pane, which has a smaller hole in it. And then that corresponds with the hole in the mini blinds. So we have a rough trajectory of the angle of the bullet as it went through the window.
So the FBI assisted you,
Yes.
and that's an agent who was holding that object.
Yes.
Do you remember who that is? Is it Jacobson?
Yes. Ed Jacobson.
Thank you. Next exhibit. Showing you now exhibit number 11. Could you describe what this depicts?
This depicts the drive-through, or the area between where Dr. Drake's office was located, which is the building on the right, and the drive-through of the coffee shop, which is the building on the left. And the second window away from us on the left side of the building on the right is the window where the bullet went through. So you'll see first window and then the second window. Yeah, first window, yeah, and then the second window. That's the window where the bullet went through, where Dr. Drake was seen.
And that, when you're pointing out that window, Ms. Herndon our paralegal is pointing to that with the cursor, correct?
Yes.
All right, next photograph, please. What does this depict? This is exhibit number 12.
This was a photograph of Dr. Drake and his family that was displayed in his office that was there when we processed the scene.
All right, I'd like to now move to exhibit number 13.
Maybe we can take a brief recess with the council approach.
What is up, everybody? Detective Michael Van Leuven is on the stand. That was Dana that just asked for the brief recess. Can they approach? Dr. Moore said, okay, praise God.
we can watch from your channel. Thank you, because we haven't been able to. So thank you. That's all I got. No, guys, a little arrow button. There's a bunch more people in. Ruth Taylor, that's one of the Drakes. I don't know if that's his sister, I think.
Briefly before we resume on the record, Mr. and Mrs. Moore, we just want to confirm that it is in fact you who were logged on. If you could please briefly turn on your video at this time.
The guys who logged in is Dan and Karen Moore feed.
Yes.
And I've asked them to unmute and turn on the video. All they need to do is speak. I've unmuted them. Dan and Karen Moore, can you please identify yourselves? I have you unmuted.
Back on the record, I have been informed that someone who was watching via Zoom is live streaming the proceedings in direct contradiction of this court's order. Because we do not know and cannot talk to that is, we are going to take a brief recess, and I will be removing the participants at this time. There will be a queue designated by the council as known people who have an interest in watching, and they will be brought back in. Unfortunately, we do not allow recording using without prior authorization, and since that has been disobeyed and breached at this time, of course, sees no other way to move forward and preserve the integrity of these proceedings at this time. I want to emphasize that these proceedings are open to the public. Every person is free to come and watch this in person. And Zoom is a new technology and has allowed this to be available to people to watch from their phones. However, that is a privilege, not a right. And at this time, I find that privilege is being abused. So we are going to go off record to everyone in the waiting room. I will talk to council. We will allow those that can be identified as interested parties and identified by them back in. I apologize for the wait, and I thank everyone for their patience at this time. We will not go off record.
Hello.